First, marry her. Second, my girlfriend and I always had competition. Once she saw me burp out loud and looked at me with determined eyes, then stole my soda only to burp louder. We spent an hour and almost $10 on soda trying to one-up each other. Story 1. My wife will quack like a duck in the shower if she knows I'm in the bathroom too, and will continue to do it until I quack back. If I'm lying about something for comedy's sake, she'll break out the truth seeker, where she'll press her fingers into my neck to hit a soft spot that tickles way too much and continue doing it because she's a sadist. The truth seeker will find out what's real. Story 2. My wife watched me play way too much Assassin's Creed. She will randomly sneak up close to me and pretend to kill me with her arm knife. When she does it, she yells, "Ugh, you're dead." She has been doing it since 2008. Story 3. When we meet, she will basically run at me and jump into the air, expecting me to catch her. Luckily, I don't skip leg day. She will also run and dive on me when I'm lying in bed. Story 4. I like to take the stuffed animals on my wife's side of the bed and pose them. They even have a name, the Hippo Performance Group. My favorite was called Sorry, and was just a single hippo stuffed animal sitting in the middle of the bed on top of a poop emoji pillow. I've done sword fights using wrapping paper tubes, poker games, giving birth, stuffed animal group intimate positions, pole dancing, etc. Story 5. Was getting intimate with my girlfriend when she found one chest hair that was randomly much longer than all the others and ripped it out while I was on top of her. When it happened, I just froze, looked down at my chest, then looked her in the eyes. She was just staring back, and then we both cracked up, realizing the ridiculousness of what she had done. Story 6. My currently pregnant wife will sometimes randomly just go KYH and do a goofy spinning kick when I walk into a room she's in, but usually only when it's just the two of us at home. Well, I was in the bathroom and my father-in-law walked into the kitchen and she thought it was me. So my tiny, big-bellied wife went KYH and Chuck Norris'd her stepdad as he walked through the doorway, then almost peed her pants laughing about it. His only response was, "You seem to be energetic today." Story 7. My girlfriend regularly tries to push me into bed for cuddles. Given that I'm over 100 pounds heavier and more than a foot taller than her, she doesn't get very far with her efforts. I usually wait until she's exhausted from trying to move me before theatrically taking a dive. Story 8. Ex-girlfriend used to ride horses. She would jump on me when I was laying down, wrap her legs around my midsection and arms around my neck. She would squeeze her legs and crush my insides until I begged for mercy. If you have ever dated a horse girl, you know what I am talking about. Story 9. She will grab my thumb or finger like it is a penis and start stroking and making exaggerated sex sounds. Think yeah, you like that, do not you? She is not horny or wanting to get it on. She just knows it makes me uncomfortable and does it to mess with me. Story 10. I started this game with my boyfriend. We go dead weight to see if one can save the other. He has died every time except for when he went dead weight on a blanket. Story 11. Single now, but my ex drives with her left foot controlling the brakes and her right foot controlling the gas. Gives me anxiety just thinking about it. Story 12. My girlfriend will be halfway asleep on the couch, and as soon as she gets up to go to bed, she gets the zoom eyes like crazy. I play hide under the sheets in bed, and there is this split second where I don't hear her running around, and I think, oh no, she's airborne. Then she lands in bed and starts laughing. Also, she has this weird thing where she sings the Cold Miser and Heat Miser song before bed while doing this weird voice, and it is hilarious. Story 13, he gives me baby kisses. Just open mouth up against the cheek with no lip movement. Basically just touches his open mouth to the side of my face for 1 second. Like a baby. This is weird, but I love it. Story 14. At any point in the day, regardless of where we are, a slow-motion imaginary gunfight will break out. Invisible grenades and missile launchers are inevitable. We don't hold back. It continues until one victor remains, typically decided by who had the best performance. Our kid is profoundly embarrassed by this. He needs to lighten up. Story 15. Sometimes we'll be in other rooms just doing our own thing for a bit. and then one of us will get bored or want to hang out, so we will randomly meow, and the other meows back or comes into the room. Story 16. I will nom on my girlfriend's nose while my girlfriend noms on my chin. When our faces are smushed together, it lines up perfectly, and we do that for like 30 seconds. It's soothing. Story 17. He grabs one of the many stuffed animals we have and makes them wave goodbye to me when I leave for work. He will bang on the window if I do not return the gesture. Yesterday, one of the Sasquatches, fell off the windowsill and floated up to heaven. Today, it was the goat, and it was a quick wave because he was running late. I will add he is 44 years old, and we have no children to justify having these creatures around. Thank you for the reward. I am glad our inability to grow up brings people so much joy. I will appreciate it a little more tomorrow morning on my way to work. Story 18. She imaginary stabs me. I'm serious. She bangs my chest pretending she is holding a knife. Edit. People will probably think this is fake, but she has told me she has dreamed of murdering people. She says it was in self-defense though. Story 19. My girlfriend likes to pretend to make love to me like a man, either in a doggy position, missionary, or whatever. She'll even slap my behind or grab my imaginary chest while doing it. She's also bent me in ways I didn't know I could bend. Story 20. Where do I even begin with her? When she farts, she'll come running from another room to tightly hold my hand as if giving birth and just let it rip. Before drinking, she'll do a quick, amphibian-like lip lick and then slurp. She consistently speaks in gibberish that she's completely made up, that somehow I've started understanding. I love her to death, and these little things she does melt my heart. Story 21. My ex loved to inspect my body attentively to find dark spots. Each time she found one, she got all giddy and excited, then proceeded to remove it cautiously, and finally presented it to me like a trophy before pursuing her inspection. Story 22. Whenever my husband has to go number 2, he will stand up and say something to the effect of, I must go and evacuate my bowels, while making a lot of eye contact. Story 23. She burps and will apologize if it is a weak one. She does a little dance when she gets food and likes to balance stuff on her head when she is bored. She is a dork. Story 24. I am a wrestling fan, and my girlfriend will randomly do a wrestling move to me. Like last weekend, she threw me a stunner out of nowhere. I'm gonna marry that girl. Story 25. When my girlfriend knows I'm home while she's at work, she'll send a voice message through our Alexa saying, Satan says hello. Catches me off guard when I'm just relaxing and playing video games. Story 26. We send each other pictures of nudes. Not nudes of ourselves, but pictures of noodles. Sometimes he sends spicy nudes, as in red sauce noodles. Send nudes. Story 27. We have a lot of doors in our house. She'll burst out of them randomly and just yell, Here I am. Then she cackles and moves on to whatever she's flitting to next. Story 28. My wife sticks her feet in my pajama pants pocket when we are relaxing on the couch. I tried to turn the tables once, but women's pockets are so small my foot wouldn't fit. Haha. Story 29. Every morning, my fiancé and I wake up. Whoever is up first says to the other, What are we going to do today, brain? The other has to answer, The same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Story 30. My ex had a sheltered life with a very Christian upbringing. Her parents would have to pre-watch Disney movies to make sure they were appropriate before she could watch them. That kind of thing. So she hit a rebellious phase and entered yours truly. She loved sex but knew nothing about it. She was completely unfamiliar with the names of various sexual positions, so she just made up her own names for them. It wasn't just the position but context, speed, etc. all combined for a unique name, so if you knew her terminology, you knew how to give it to her, at what speed, angle, and so on. She also gave them cutesy names. For example, the horsey, cowgirl position, was subdivided into the slow-trotting horsey, the galloping horsey, and hurdles. You can imagine what each of those looked like. But her favorite was Sleepy Time Snuggle, where the big spoon enters the little spoon slowly from behind while she's half asleep. She was also a fan of Puppy Chow, cunnilingus with her on her back, So named because from her vantage point, I looked like her dog burying its face in its food bowl. I did mention that there was some standardized terminology, but hers were more descriptive, so we ultimately went with that. Story 31. My significant other likes to play a game where she locks all the windows and puts the heat on full blast and seat warmers up high while driving. She hasn't given it a name yet, but it's her favorite game to play. I usually just strip down to my underwear, and by the time I'm pulling at those to rip them off, I win the game and she rolls the windows down. Story 32. I'm 6 feet 2 inches and 255 pounds. My wife is 5 feet 1 inch and 105 pounds. She loves trying to chest bump me, which a lot of times leads to her bouncing off and wheezing for air. Story 33. My girl likes to have love strokes whenever I'm near her, and I love it. Literally, it's where she flounders onto me while she speaks gibberish to me. Then she says hi. She is not special, just goofy. Story 34. Pickup lines. We both do them, but she makes them never make sense and are elaborate. Hey babe, are you an alarm clock? Because I want you to turn me over and make me scream in the morning. She has threatened multiple times to tackle and wrestle me to the ground. She has not succeeded yet, but she's definitely getting better. If I'm doing something and she's over, she'll sit on me. She doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, just sits on me. She is the cutest thing in the world. Story 35. Before my sweetheart passed away, he was such a neat freak, to the point where his bed was perfectly made and he would not even unmake it to go to sleep. He would lie on top of it, then cover up with a throw or a quilt to stay warm. Lazy person. Story 36. I have a thing with my wife that we call sloth get. Without warning, I go after her silently, without emotion, very, very slowly but relentlessly. Just 2 fingers inching towards her while not even making eye contact. She rarely lasts more than 30 seconds before freaking out. Story 37. She went crazy on bird feeders last fall. We have 5 bird feeders in the backyard. It's actually really cool to see all these different types of birds. But we now also have tons of squirrels, and the bird droppings are getting a little out of hand. My main concern is about mice and other pests coming after the bird seed. Story 38. My girlfriend runs up behind me when I'm not looking, and she will then proceed to try to either slap my rear or poke me in the butt. I am deathly afraid whenever my back is turned to her. Story 39. So, when are you proposing? My significant other and I love Lilo and Stitch, and I've always been good at the Stitch impression, but she's had to practice. Now she realizes how good she's gotten and says some really odd things like, "This is the beginning of the fall of capitalism," in a pretty convincing Stitch voice, and it ruins me. Story 40. She tries to make me purr. I'm a big, strong guy, pretty macho, beard and all, but I have a tick. If my chin is scratched, I'll lean my head forward like a cat, close my eyes, and pretty much freeze up like that. She'll abuse it and won't let go until I purr. I hate it. I love it. I love her. But damn, you don't just make a guy like me purr. That's cruel. Story 41. If your significant other doesn't fart in front of you, are they even your significant other? My wife likes to waft her farts at me. Sometimes she tries to fart on me, so I snatch the fart from her and cupcake her with her own stink mist. Story 42. We do corny pickup lines to each other. His most recent was, "Girl, are you a beaver because damn," or he'll press his lips into mine and won't let me get away from it. So we both end up giggling with our faces smushed together. Story 43. We wanted to try anal. She sat down and inserted me about an inch or slightly more, fell off and farted. I started laughing so hard I accidentally farted. Made her laugh and she air farted 4 to 5 more times. That was the end of that little session, as the mood was no longer in the air. Flatulence was. Story 44. Often when we are winding down for the day, my wife will do that flipper thing with my bottom lip, like when you flick it back and forth with your finger to make that weird blurb 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 sound. Story 45. My boyfriend and I are semi-long distance, meaning we live within driving distance of each other, but only get together every other weekend. When we're missing each other, one of us will just text, send face to say, "Hey, I miss you," Send me a selfie so I can see you. And the other usually responds with, send return face. It's one of my favorite things, honestly. Story 46. If I'm lying cozy in bed before her, she'll give me a grumpy look until I open my arms and invite her in for a cuddle. Then she smiles. Other times, she'll rub her butt against me or do a silly dance to be funny whenever I'm trying to do mundane things like eating or doing something on my phone. Story 47. When we are sitting beside each other and I'll open my hand for my fiancé to hold, he will make a beak with his fingers and tap them into my hand and say chirp chirp. I think it first happened when we smoked weed and laughed so hard. It's been ongoing ever since between us. My favorite. Story 48. She's a keeper. At least she can have a laugh and some fun. We are old, but my partner sends me toilet messages. It's a bit of a joke that we got together because I am a nurse and he was preparing for old age when he would need someone to wipe his bottom. So during the day, I randomly get a toilet message, and his reasoning is that if he ends up in the hospital, I will always know the last time he's been. It's all a bit silly. I see the messages and laugh at work. Story 49. My boyfriend and I do the chameleon, where you get close to the other's face and stick out your tongue very quickly after you shout, chameleon. I also like pinching his butt on the stairs when he is in front of me. He always realizes too late that he is in danger and tries to bolt up the stairs, but he can't outrun my four-legged spider crawling. He also believes that I am just like a cat because I would randomly spring out of my chair and suddenly be in my hall and come back to the room. Additionally, when he tries to get me into bed and I get in, if he makes any dramatic moves, I will leave the bed and sit on the chair. Story 50. It's more what I do, but she loves it when I do it. My ensuite bathroom is immediately in front of the foot of my bed. I'll have a shower, and she'll already be in bed on her phone or getting a show for us to watch on the TV. I always burst through the door, sprint out, and leap on top of her and lay there as a weighted blanket. Then she'll just hug me, after yelping for me scaring her, of course. She always comments on how I seem to have so much energy so close to bedtime. To be honest, I don't know either.